afternoon, and welcome to the May edition of the Lit Gals. I am Martie Hoofer. I am so excited to be here today. It is my favorite half hour of every month. So I am the digital content manager for Keep Indiana Learning. Anna Cook is the other Lit Gal. So Anna, go ahead and introduce yourself and then throw it to our special guest.
Yes. Hello, I'm Anna Cook. I'm a literacy consultant. Love literacy and have for 35 plus years in education. And just like you, Martie, I absolutely love this time that we get together. And we have such a fabulous guest. We usually don't have guests, Chevin, so you're our first one.
Okay.
I would like to introduce Chevin Stone. And Martie, would you like to tell our audience a little bit more?
Yeah, Chevin is part of the Indiana Connected Educators, and they are having a book study this summer. And I'm not going to take too much of your thunder, Chevin. So why don't you tell us about the book? I already have my copy.
Yes, hello, and thank you so much, ladies, for having me come on today. I appreciate you giving me this platform to talk about something really important that we do at Indiana Connected Educators. We decided about 3 years ago, to add a diversity and equity component to our work with technology in the classroom and technology as we're teaching. And I am the chair of that committee. And what my job is basically is finding ways and finding resources to help teachers find ways to show equity and diversity and cultural relevance in the classroom. And so one of the ways that I do that is I try to put together a book study. I did one last year that kind of fizzled. It was just a few of us, but it was okay. It's okay. It was the first time I'd done it. Mm-hmm. But this year I see, I found this book that I thought was really great. And so I want to make a big deal out of this book because this book is so important. The name of the book is Lies My Teacher Told Me by the late, great Dr. James Loewen. And just a little bit about him. He was born and raised in Illinois, and he was a professor. And his first teaching job was at Tougaloo University, which is a HBCU down in Mississippi. And one of the questions that he asked his very first class, very first time he's teaching is, what did you learn about the state of Mississippi growing up? And they were telling him all this really basic stuff, that was just general stuff. And he was fascinated that they didn't know. I mean, Mississippi has really deep rooted history, and they didn't know any of it. They were not taught these things. And it was always something that fascinated him is that, the history books tell us certain things. Why do they tell us what they tell us the way they tell us? Mm. And so this is the second edition of his book. In the first edition, he looked at 18 different American history books, high school American history books. And in the second edition, he added 6 more books where he just went through the books, each individual textbook, and he looked at what was being taught, why it was being taught, and how it was being taught. And he came to some conclusions about why we teach American history the way we do. And in this current climate with the book bannings and things of that nature, this book kind of fits into that because it's teaching that America is this really amazing place without telling us what the amazing things were, which is really sad. There's all this stuff. I've been telling people as I've been reading the book, the way the book started, and without giving away a whole lot, but they have a little story there about Helen Keller. And I stopped and thought about what he said. So what do you know about Helen Keller? So I know she was blind. I know she was deaf. I know that Anne Sullivan taught her how to function in the world and, cool stuff. And then at the end of her life, she did a couple of things. And then his next question in the book is, what did she do between the time she was 16 and 60? And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I have absolutely no idea. Does anybody know what Helen Keller did, as an adult? And so I know, of course, I have to close the book now and go to Wikipedia and look up Helen Keller. And she did all this stuff. Why isn't this in the book? You know, why don't children know this about this amazing woman? And so his premise is the history books tell just the little bitty parts. And one of the things he says is the only reason that there are even women and people of color mentioned in history books is because talking about old dead white men will get really boring after a while. He said, he literally says that, like, you know, we just add them here and there. But what I wanted to do with the book study was give people an opportunity to talk to each other about their history learning and what they learn and what they know, and how talking to each other now in a environment where we can just go find the answer to the question. We can go learn about that person. What do you now know about certain events that happened in our history? What do we know about certain people in our history? That those of us who were raised and went to school in the 20th century, all we had was the book.
Right.
Where the kids now,
Yeah.
go look it up.
Yeah.
Get back to me and let me know what you found out about that person. And that's really important.
So, Chevin, thinking about our audience who teach a wide variety of subjects, and I'm going to go ahead and put some info up here on the screen so people can jot this down, take a picture of it, whatever, screenshot it. But how can this book impact teachers across content areas? Obviously, there's a tie to social studies. Anna was an elementary teacher. I taught middle school language arts. How would this fit regardless of content area?
This would fit regardless of content, because then you can go back and ask yourself, what am I teaching? And what is it that I'm able to provide as far as a resource to make it a richer experience for the students? I taught middle school science. And believe me, if I weren't teaching science, I would teach history, because I was always adding history to my science lessons, you know, and I would make a point of making it very current as humanly possible. Well, you have to do that with science, because science is changing every other minute. So, you know, kids would come in and teach me something sometimes. Like, what? You know, and they look it up for me. It's like, when did that happen? 2 days ago? Oh, cool. You know? But in any subject, in any topic, in any class, you can take the content and make it real. And that's the thing that the book talks about isn't happening in the history books. It isn't real. And kids don't like history because it's just this rambling of general facts that mean nothing to them because they happened 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 400 years ago. It doesn't mean anything to them.
Right.
But all of those things, and I used to teach my kids this, the history, the things that happened in the past immediately impact you. You're not living in a vacuum. You're doing the things you're doing, and you have the things you have the experiences you have because it's something that happened before. So it happened before.
Yeah.
And that's how history or any topic should be taught, knowing that you bringing something forward for the students.
Oh boy, that is yes. So not to so many things I could ask you, but I'm going to ask you the most pertinent question. Tell us about the book study itself. How is it organized? How does it work? How do people register? What can they expect? All of those things. Give us the nitty-gritty details.
Okay, it is a 6-week study. It's going to be asynchronous. Okay. It is on Canvas. Okay. So what you need to do is you have it here on the slide. You can preview it and then register. There's a registration form available. We need that registration form because, of course, the way Canvas is set up, I need your email address. So give me your email address and I will get you into the course. And it is asynchronous, which means that you are out there on your own, taking your time and going through it. So as you're reading, you can go and then go to the discussion board. And in the discussion board, you have to respond to the questions. There might be 1 or 2 questions there. Respond to the questions. There might be a little video there for you to watch to, some current event type thing. I tried to add a current event, type thing, where you or a piece of history that we were not aware of. Here, read this. Now answer this question based on what you just read. And then once you have answered the question, once you have added to the discussion, the responses from other people will open up and you can respond to them. They can respond to you and you have the conversation that way. I wanted to do it that way so that we have an authentic response from each person before they jump into everybody else's discussions, everybody else's boxes, comment boxes. So on June 18th, I will open up the first week's discussion. So as soon as you're ready, if you've already read the first 2 or 3 chapters, you can go ahead and get started, answer that question and get going, keep going. And I will open up each week's discussion at the beginning of each week. About halfway through the book study, I'm going to send a survey to see if anyone is interested in having a virtual discussion.
Ooh.
I'm going to assume that anybody wants to sit down and talk to each other. But I'm going to ask, would anyone be interested in, at the end of this, we take an hour and just, what'd you think, guys? And have a conversation with each other. It will be closely monitored so that, we keep our emotions. We all have our own individual thing. And so it will be closely monitored to make sure that everybody is being respectful to each other and bringing their own authentic self and are being respected for being their own authentic self as they are responding to questions. So,
Oh, Chevin,
this sounds good. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it sounded good. And then you started talking about how it's going to work. And now I'm like, and it now sounds even better. I was already excited. This book has been on my should read list for a while. So I'm excited. This gave me the push I needed. And I don't want people to be intimidated by the length because I was looking at it this morning. There's almost 100 pages of footnotes, which to me is always impressive. It shows just how well researched.
It is very well researched. It's it is an amazing book.
Yeah.
All
yeah.
Right.
And even, we elementary teachers, I was just telling you I taught 4th and 5th grade and there were some things that I just went, what?
Right. And there's an age appropriate way to bring it to the table.
Right.
Or to at least, if you don't even bring it to the table, to at least make them aware that they can go find out.
That's right.
We have to remember that these children, these students know how to go find what they want. Give them a reason to go look for it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Titillate them, if you will. Give them a reason to want to go learn more about something.
Right. Because isn't that all of our jobs as educators, to help students become critical thinkers who can go find the information they need.
Right.
Because we're not always there to feed it. If I'm just feeding it, I'm not doing you any good when I'm not there.
Yeah. Right. Independent.
Right. Independent thinking, independent study.
Yes. Yes. Well, Chevin, we are so glad to have you today. I will pull this slide back up at the end of our show. So thank you so much for your time today.
It's going to be
great.
You are
very welcome. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, Anna, what a treat.
That is going to be good.
Yes. I'm super, like I said, I started this morning and I had to make myself put the book down.
Yeah, that's going to be very good. I think that all educators, especially, it'll be very enlightening, huh?
Absolutely. And I think just broaden our horizons to think about things we never thought about before. And that's good, not only for this knowledge, but for other things that we assume we know. Let's go check and make sure we really know.
Right. Right. Yeah. Love it. Love it.
All right. So, Anna, with our time we have left, we are going to talk about summer reads because it's like almost summer outside.
I cannot believe this. May almost finished.
I know. So
Unreal.
What are you thinking about for summer reads, or what would you recommend? Or
Martie, is she going to listen? Is she going to read? What is she going to do? Well, Martie, so I wanted to get kind of a jump start and everything on my summer reading. And, I do try to stretch myself, and then I also want to do like a beach read. But I found a book that came up, and I just Googled summer reads or, what to read this summer, etc. And this book came up over and over and over again.
Okay.
And it's called Memorial Drive.
Ooh.
And it is by the United States Poet Laureate from 2012 to 2014. She is also a Pulitzer Prize winner.
Oh.
Her name is Natasha Trethewey. And this is an unbelievably written book.
Oh.
I could not, talking about, I couldn't put it down. I was just going to, wait until, oh, no way. There was absolutely no way. The metaphors and the analogies in this book painted the most clear picture that you could possibly imagine. It just took your breath away.
Oh.
And she wrote it, and it was published in 2020. And this book is still coming up. It's, of course, a New York Times bestseller. Washington Post said it was the book of the year. I mean, people are still reading this book and saying, oh, my goodness. It is a memoir.
Okay.
And it is about Natasha's mother, unfortunately dying from Natasha's stepfather's bullet. Her stepfather abused her mother.
Okay.
And it is her account of from the time that she was a little girl until the time that her mother died.
Wow. So Anna, I don't often think about books like heavy like that as a summer read, but it sounds so compelling that you just have to read.
I agree. And that's why when I picked it up and I thought, when you said summer, summer reads and everything, and this book just kept coming up, I thought, oh, okay. And I started reading. I thought, oh my gosh. So it is heavy, but it's so compelling. And you just feel like I've got to continue turning the pages here.
Yeah.
It was unreal. I would highly, highly suggest it.
Okay, this is not a book I plan to talk about, but I feel like I have to throw it out there. It's another memoir called Know My Name, Know, Know My Name by Chanel Miller.
Okay.
And it's another one that is so well written and is just absolutely compelling. There is no, I'll just read a chapter and I'll never pick this book up again. It's just, so Know My Name is the latest memoir I've been recommending to people.
Okay.
So now I'm going to have to check out Memorial Drive.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Now, the one that I haven't read yet, only because it is still on, it's still being reserved and everything, because, I like to read through Libby. Don't laugh. It is the biggest beach read of 2023. It's called Happy Place. And this is another one that kept coming back over and over and over again.
I have seen that title often lately. I've not read it either. But yes.
Everybody wants the book. It's quite obvious because I've still got like another 9 more weeks to do. So I think I'm going to have to go ahead and buy it before I do go on the beach this summer.
Right.
Anyway, it's very lighthearted. It's about all of these couples that go to the East Coast to, the beach. And one couple is broken up, but they're too afraid to tell the other couples.
I love the premise.
Don't laugh.
I love the premise of this book. I am not on hold yet for it because I knew there would be so many people in front of me that I'm like, I'll just wait.
Just wait. So I'm going to have to buy it and everything when I go to the beach because I know I'll not be up for the book yet.
It'll be September before you get it.
So those are the two. One I've already read. And then the next one.
Yeah. Okay. So when I thought about summer reads, I was thinking about also those compelling books that kids are. So I went with the middle grade, not even young adult this time. These are both true middle grade books.
Love it.
But this one by Alan Gratz, this is his newest book. And I'll tell you what, Alan Gratz books are always a hit with kids, always. And this one is about climate change. And there's so many good things I could say about this book. But here's the one thing I'm going to say. One of the main characters, so Alan Gratz, in typical Alan Gratz fashion, there's multiple main characters. And every chapter, there's a different main character. And then at the end, all their stories always come together. But one of the main characters here in 2 Degrees, actually, it's the girl that's pictured on the cover, lives in California, like in Northern California, like the Yosemite area. And obviously, there's a wildfire. She clearly believes that climate change is a real issue that she needs to be concerned about. Her dad does not. And that's what I appreciated about this book, that Alan Gratz is willing to tackle that subject, that not everybody sees the same way as you do.
In the same family.
Yes. And so this girl and her dad have to work through this issue. And it's a little contentious, and there's some conversations. And it's just, I love Alan Gratz books, but that just brought another level of love to this story of pointing out that other side and how we need to be able to talk about and talk to people from who hold different beliefs than us. So that is a summary. And I'll be honest with you, if you've got a middle schooler, any Alan Gratz book, you can't go wrong. They're all phenomenal. I have a few faves. This is one of them. But you can never go wrong with Alan Gratz.
I love the storyline. Very current, very.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's phenomenal. And then, okay, I have a lot of books laying here, Anna. You know the drill.
Of course you do.
Of course, I'll just show this one. I won't talk about it, but it's pretty. And it's about baseball, and there's a little elephant there in the baseball glove, and that all ties together. I'm not going to talk about it, but it's so good.
Okay.
But here's the one I am going to talk about. Property of the Rebel Librarian.
Ooh.
Very timely also, given the state of affairs right now. And let me just read to you the one sentence that's on the back cover. I'm a middle school nobody who's never gotten in trouble a day in my life. And all of a sudden, I'm bad news.
Oh, I love that.
The Rebel Librarian. You don't often think of rebel librarians, but she's a middle schooler and she takes matters into her own hands.
Love it.
And,
love it.
June is a fun little character to get to know. She's a fun summer read. So
Martie,
I really enjoyed this book.
Where did you find this one?
I don't remember. I'll be honest with you. I've read a couple of books lately, kind of middle grade YA that are in the banned book, like should we ban books? How are kids handling this?
Okay.
So this may have been in that vein, but I don't remember how I truly found out about this one. But oh man,
good.
It's a good one. It's a good one. So it's a good summer read. So.
Great.
And Anna, I have to do a quick little plug for the Virtually Different conference. Coming up from Keep Indiana Learning.
Yep, you and me and some others.
Absolutely. 2 authors are keynoting in the Virtually Different conference, and let me quick plug for the 2 that aren't authors. One is Jennifer Gonzalez from Cult of Pedagogy, the podcast. Jennifer is phenomenal.
Oh, that's going to be so good. I listen to her a lot.
Yes. Such good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then Mr. Fascinate, he looks at STEM and 21st century careers and preparing kids and kind of innovative thinking. So those are our keynotes for day 1. And I don't know how it worked out this way, but our keynotes for day 2 are both authors. The first is Sarah Brown. Have you read this book?
Yes. Oh, very good.
Yes, I'm not a huge like PD book, yay, rah.
Oh, phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Mhm.
So Sarah Brown keynoting on Wednesday the 14th, and this is the most approachable PD book I have ever read in my life.
Very good.
Yes.
You're right.
Full of handouts. Oh my goodness, good stuff. I love it that you know the book also. And then ending the conference is Ken Williams, author of Ruthless Equity.
Okay.
I cannot say enough good things about this book. Ken is very passionate about us having high expectations of kids and them rising to them. And he talks about you start with their crown and that they will rise to it. It's phenomenal. Yeah. And so
and we've seen that happen, Marty, in our own classrooms time and time and time again.
Yes. And his subtitle is Disrupt the Status Quo and Ensure Learning for All Students.
That'll be good.
This will be fantastic. I just talked to Ken. Actually, I talked to Ken and Sarah both today. And we are in for a treat. So just wanted to put that plug out there. Registration is still open. It's only $35 for 2 days. And the Lit Gals will be there.
Yep. We're going to be there.
And we're doing something really neat. We're going to talk about, we're going to bring Yay STEM and the Lit Gals together. So there'll be 5 of us talking about how literacy and STEM together.
Yep. We're going to have a lot of fun.
We are. It is going to be fantastic. So, Anna, we are out of time. Tell us, what are you listening to or reading right now?
Doesn't seem like it, does it? I am working a lot with teachers on literacy workstations. And so I have got an oldie but goodie out. And we've been doing a lot of work on workstations and learning a lot about that. So that's what I've been reading for the past couple of weeks.
Awesome. I have seen that book. It is. It's been around the block, but it's a good one. It's a good one.
Goodie.
Well, just the opposite. I started this yesterday, I think. Homegoing is the title by Ya Jassi, and fascinating. It's not, fiction, historical fiction, and Ghana, 18th century. Oh, wow. 2 half-sisters are born into different villages, each unaware of the other. One will marry an Englishman and lead a life of comfort in the castle on the coast. The other will be captured in a raid on her village, imprisoned in the very same castle, and sold into slavery.
Oh, no way.
And then the story goes from there. So that's like the opening chapter. And then we're off. And where does this, how history moves our families? And a decision way back here impacts, like Chevin said.
Right.
Decision way back there impacts today.
Yeah.
So that's my current read.
That's good.
Yeah. So what a great show.
This was wonderful. I was so happy that we got to meet Chevin, and that's going to be great.
Yes.
For the summer.
Yes. So this does wrap up this season of the Lit Gals. So we will be a part, like we said, of Virtually Different. We will be off the month of July, and then we will see you back in the fall. August is not fall. But, we'll see you back in August.
And Marty, we've got a blog.
Yes. Thank you. Talk about that. I forgot. Thank you.
Yes. We've got a blog that we wrote for Keep Indiana Learning. And that will be a nice segue into our talk in August.
Yes. Yeah. So the blog publishes tomorrow, which is Thursday the 18th on the Keep Indiana Learning website. And then, so that gives you a little sneak peek of where we're going in August. So we are thrilled to have you as viewers. We are so very thankful for you. Hope to see you as part of the book study. Anna and I will both be there in June and July. And happy summer reading.
Thank you. Have a good summer, everyone.